over the past 30 days, over the past month plus, America has had 30 million people that have lost their jobs. 30 million people have become unemployed. Can you talk a bit about unemployment insurance and how individuals can receive that benefit?
Sure. I'll give it my best shot. Now, unemployment insurance or unemployment benefits, these are interchangeable terms. These are payments that are usually made by the state government, and it is a program that is funded by payroll taxes. So first of all, you are entitled to it because it's been paid into on your behalf by your company. So that's it right off the top. You are entitled to it if you are unemployed. If you walk away from the job, you don't get it. But if for some reason you had to be rifted or the company had to cut back for, in this case, the pandemic crisis, then you are entitled to whatever the state unemployment amount is based on your income. Now, the other thing is that because of the pandemic, there are a number of people who can't work. We have some people that work for us at the church. The musicians, for example, they're considered gig employees. Uber drivers are considered gig employees. And then there are contractors who can't work for some reason because of the social distancing rules that are in place. They cannot go to work. As a result of this, the federal government has an unemployment program which would give you an additional $600 in addition to what you would be getting from the states. And so it's actually a nice sum of money. So you want to take advantage of this. Now, how do you get it? It is administered through the state's unemployment department. So you have to go through the state's unemployment department to be able to access these funds. Whether it's the state's unemployment or the federal unemployment, it is administered through the state unemployment. So what you would probably need to do, and you probably need to pay attention to this, you need to go to the Maryland Department of Labor website, if you are in Maryland, or the District Department of Labor website, or Virginia. I'm just talking about tri-state here. If you live in New York, you do the same thing. You go to that state's Department of Labor and you would be able to website and you would have access to it. Now, for those of us who live in Maryland, because the number of calls, it's a high volume of calls. In fact, I had a friend who went on Tuesday last week, and in the queue in front of him, there were over 27,000 people in front of him. So the process took him 11 and a half hours to complete. I am saying this so that I'm preparing you for the long haul. It's going to be an exhaustive program just to get on, okay? So once you get to the website, you will be able to file your unemployment. It takes about 30 days and you will get a response.
Right. The sooner that you jump on it, the sooner you'll be able to get those benefits. And I think all the state governments, because again, this is a crisis, so there is a crush of need, and so it is overwhelming all of the states' normal capacity to be able to respond to these filings. However, they're trying to beef that up, and I know the state of Maryland has taken some measures to try to beef up their website so that they can process through these a bit faster. But just so that you understand, I think Brother Joefield just said that this is state support as well as it is federal support. So sometimes folks say, well, the unemployment that you get from the state is not going to be that much, might be $200-300 per week. What he just said now, the additional amount is coming from the federal government. They when they passed it in March, it was the intention. They called it unemployment insurance on steroids. So from the federal government, you get an additional $600 per week. And so you take that all together, and for some persons, you may actually end out better financially month by month. And that was the intention, for it to repair over 100% of persons' lost income, depending on what your situation is. Gig workers, etc. Go ahead and apply for it if you have been harmed as a result of this shutdown. If it's impacted your ability to be employed, apply, and that support is there for you.
Yeah. I just want you to know, I just pointed a gig worker to the program, and he was able to get the money.
Yeah.
He's an audio guy, and that's all he does, and he was able to get some assistance. Now, because of the high volume, Maryland has structured their calls a little differently. So if you pay attention to this, if your last name begins with A to F, then it behooves you to call on Mondays, because that's when that time is designated for people whose last name begins with A all the way through F. On Tuesdays, if your last name begins with G through N, you can call without any issues. On Wednesdays, O to Z. So if you keep that in mind, it would guide you through this process a little faster. All right. On Thursday and Fridays, you can call anytime, regardless of your what your last name begins with, the letter your last name begins with, and you should get help. Would be long, but you should get help.
Yeah. Yep. So we just want to encourage you guys that the help is out there, and we want to be sure that you're taking advantage of it.